Right, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Claret and Booze. I'm on with Ryan. We'll dispense with all the niceties tonight. We'll leave that for another show because there's plenty to be talking about. I'm going to apologise for the show that I did earlier on to anyone that's sensitive to swearing as well. I think I used my quota of the front bottom expletive in that one. I can't promise I ain't going to use it now because once I start talking about it, I'm going to get wound up. But yeah, for anyone that was watching with kids or anything like that, I'm sorry. Although I don't know what you was expecting of me, to be honest, after this news broke. Ryan, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. We had a little chat off air there, and not the news that we all wanted to hear.
No.
But yeah, I'm good. Apart from that, mate, positive. Got good things going on in my life. So before we get into the Kudus stuff, let's get. I spoke to you yesterday when you said to me yesterday about doing the show tonight. You sent me a voice note, and you sounded that's the most upbeat and happy I've heard
Mate,
you.
I was planning on us doing a fun show tonight.
And then 24 hours later, look, Sullivan strikes again, and
I know.
you're down in the dumps, mate.
It is depressing. I mean, and the messaging that's coming out. I want to clear something up quick, but I mean, you can have your take on this as well, Ryan. But my personal point of view is, as I've been banging on about for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, with all the shit that's been coming out from the ITKs and the mainstream media, which are fed by Sullivan. Sullivan he's desperate to fucking sell this player, desperate to sell him, and he's basically offered him to Tottenham. That's what's happened. And he was hoping that a fucking bidding war was going to commence. And anyone that jumps on and believes the bullshit that's come out tonight, not that it makes any difference now, Kudus can fuck off if he's got the Spurs. But I'm trying to say, don't take the heat off of the fucking club, the bloke that's sold him. That nonsense has come out that he's put a transfer request in. They've been whoring him around for 3 months. He didn't need a transfer request. They've been trying to sell him. So, with all due respect, maybe he might have said yesterday or something like that, I don't know, look, this is fucking dragging on now. Can you just get rid of me? This is stupid. Because Ryan, you must know yourself, if you work somewhere and you know that they don't want you, you're not going to want to be there, are you? So that is a situation that Kudus has been in. I don't like the fact that he's gone to Tottenham. I don't. But they're the only team that were bidding for him, that were going to give us any money. And it's a shit deal. People are saying 50 million. Do you know the breakdown of it? The breakdown of the deal?
I've seen it. Is it 55 million? And there's going to be add-ons if they win the Champions League, which we won't get no add-ons then.
Well, I've heard it's 50, and the 5 million is the package. So that's what I've been told. I mean, they're padding it up. They lied about the Fulkrug transfer. Apparently, Levy was going to walk away, and Sullivan shat himself. 55 million, 50 million of that is cash. 10% goes to Ajax. 10% of it goes to Ajax. I think that's 10% of our profit, not of the 50 million. So that's 10% of I suppose, what is it, 15 million, I suppose, something like that, 15, 20 million that they're going to be getting. And it's going to be paid in installments over the next 5 years. So it's less than 10 million a year over the next 5 years. Those are the terms that we've agreed to. Now, how the fuck can we replace Kudus with that? How can we do anything with that money? When they're saying and they're claiming, like we've seen, I'm going to get me rant out of the way. When they're saying and they're claiming that just yesterday, been put out by Sean Whetstone, jumped on by fucking Ginger Bollocks Central on Twitter and everyone else, pushing it around fucking Twitter, saying West Ham have got a £40 million bank loan that they must pay up towards the end of July. They're panicking because what they'll have to do is refinance it, and they don't want to do it. So obviously what this does is go some way to paying towards that. I don't know. But like I said, the payment terms are shit. It's 10 million a year. Plus, go back 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They said Potter's only getting 75%. We was doing a show when it broke. Potter's only getting 75% of whatever money that we've got. Well, they've retracted that tonight. They've said, we had to sell him because he put a transfer request in. Bollocks. And they've said, now he's going to get all the money to spend. Well, if he's going to get all the money to spend, what money? Because it's fucking 10 million a year over. How? And what about the bank loan? Mate, none of it makes any sense. They're talking bollocks. They are. We've been done over by Spurs, and I've blocked them. You'll see at the top of the chat. I've made it so that only people that have been a subscriber in about the last 10 months can comment. I don't want any Spurs fans on here. They're blocked.
Yeah,
on, mate.
look,
Sorry.
mate, no, listen, mate. I completely understand your frustrations. My sort of thoughts in it is I expected it. I didn't expect it to come this early in the window. I thought we might have held it out a bit, try to get a bit more, maybe get another couple of clubs involved in the bidding war. We know Spurs probably wasn't his first choice, but the thing is, with a lot of people saying, yeah, Spurs finished 17th. Kudus is not signing for a team that's finished 17th last season. He's signing for a Champions League team. You
New
know,
manager.
when you look at the infrastructure of the club and the stadium and the training facilities, they've just got a new manager. When you know that a club, your club, are trying to sell you, you're going to want to leave. Like you said, mate, if I was working for someone and I knew the manager wanted me out, the first job that offered me a
No
job
brainer.
with, you go. Whether it's Tottenham, listen, Kudus hasn't got any loyalty to West Ham. He doesn't know about London rivalry. He doesn't understand that. To him, it's a job. It's a career. He's going to go. It don't matter. He don't care that he's going to Tottenham. It's going to upset us. You know, when players like Scott Parker, Defoe, Carrick, Canute, they all done it. They done it when we got relegated, which in my eyes, I think is worse because they were the ones that fucking helped get us down into the Championship. You know, it's always hard when they go to a London rival, just like Declan Rice, our captain. Let's not forget that Declan Rice was already himself out months before that deal happened.
Yeah,
you know,
Oh no! For me, I said this the other day. Sorry to cut in. I said that was way worse. And you've got people, and I'm seeing them that still defend Rice to this day. No, I'm not condoning that. You attack who you want and you defend who you want, but they defend Declan Rice to the hilt. That fucker in Prague had set his Arsenal move up. Ryan, what was he doing when we're singing? What is it? One more year, Declan Rice. Fucking recording us, going, you cunts, I'm leaving. I know that ain't what he's thinking, but ultimately it weren't a good look, was it? When you're there. So he's done that. Kudus has been fucking forced out of the club. We wanted to sell him. We tried to send him to the desert. He wouldn't go. I keep saying that because it makes me laugh. But we tried to sell him to the desert. He wouldn't go. Tottenham are the only team that was there. And look, let's face it. I'm going to be honest. I don't want to say it because I fucking hate them. But they are. It's better. They've got a better stadium. They've got better training facilities. They're in the Champions League next year. Let's not fucking delude ourselves.
On paper, it is a better move.
Yeah,
it is a better move for Kudus. I'm sure deep down, if Jared Bowen might have been offered that opportunity, you know, he probably would have wanted that. But
if he weren't sort of held ransomed by his family ties now. Go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, look, Kudus last season he wasn't great. The season before when we first signed him, he showed the talent. He will probably do well at Tottenham next season for one reason. They'll play to his strengths. We don't.
Bang on.
As you said earlier, mate, and we've said it before, what do? Stick him out on the left where he struggles. We know where his better positions are, but we struggled. It's upsetting, obviously, and I get it because he's gone to Tottenham. But if he'd have gone to Chelsea, I'd have felt the same. If he'd have gone to Arsenal, I'd have felt the same. When we talk about rivalries with Tottenham, it's London rivalries. This is what Tottenham fans don't seem to get their head around. They think we're
they do, but they're condescending fuckers. I'm not going to call them the C word anymore, but they're condescending bastards. Why do you think they're all over our pages at the moment?
I mean, I hate Tottenham, I hate Chelsea, I hate Arsenal, I hate Palace, I don't like any London club because they're rivals. You know, so. Yeah, it stings a bit, but look, if Potter's going to get all that money, let's go and invest it and let him go and get the players he wants to get in. I mean, someone said to me earlier, someone messaged me earlier, said, why don't we go out and get Jack Grealish? Listen, I would love Jack Grealish at West Ham, but please tell me what Jack Grealish is going to look at our football club and think, I want to be a part of that. No world-class player or top-class player is going to look at West Ham and think, I want to be part of that. So we need to sort of get around our heads, so we're not going to attract them type of players. And Potter's, I don't
think he necessarily wants to work with them either. Not really. It's not his. I don't think that's his bag. I think he did look. He did get challenged by a few of them. We know he did. I mean, you've only got to focus on the Falkirk one, which was public. He did get challenged. He doesn't like it. And the fact of the matter is, when you're playing with, you've played football before, Ryan. I mean, I've had it with me fucking kids team. If I do something late in the game which is detrimental to the outcome, the kids will start tearing into me. They'll start going, fucking, what'd you take little Billy off for? We was winning, you idiot. Also, you start getting all that shit. So there's 100%. When you think back, the amount of points that we dropped late in games. You remember like Southampton when he went all defensive. The amount of arguments there must have been in that changing room. When you've got these professionals, mate, they don't like losing, do they?
No, of course they don't. Of course they don't. And the thing is with Kudus, you can tell. I don't believe personally that he's handing the transfer request. You know why?
Fuck off.
Because
No
he was
way.
back. He was back first day at training. If he wanted to move, he wanted to turn up. I think Kudus, personally, that if we didn't even sell him or no one come in for him, I still think he would have put in 100%. And
this club have got loads of little rats that work for them on social media and everything else. You've had Kudus turned up on the first day of training. They had one clip of him on the video, which I enjoyed. The whole thing, it got me quite excited. I was buzzing yesterday. You heard me when I spoke to you.
No.
And apparently what happened was he trained away from the rest of the team. That's no different to what Diouf's doing at Prague. When you've got a player that you're trying to fucking sell, that you want out the door because you need the money, you say, look after them. We don't want them getting injured. Fucking put them over there. Put baby in the corner. That's what's happened there. But it is, isn't it? If he's been training separately, then that's what's happened. Oh, mate.
We've seen it, especially under the Sullivan era. We've had so many players that we've fell in love with and they've left the club and we've had a moan, but we move on. Look, Kudus, for me, I don't care what he does in his career now.
No,
I don't care what he does. I don't care if he goes on and wins trophies with Tottenham. I don't care when he leaves Tottenham, he goes somewhere. It don't bother me. We've had him. I liked him when he first joined last season, but he wasn't the only one that let us down last season. But yeah, look, we'll move on. There'll be new players that come in, and like someone like Somerville now could step up.
Yeah. Well, he's back in. That was good to see him in training. It was good to see him in training. Look. I make you right, but the only thing is, mate, what really bothers me, this ain't going to be the last one. They're already linking him now at the moment, like Alvarez with AC Milan and Fulkrug's. I mean, he looks fit as fuck at the moment. Fulkrug, he looks trim. He looks like he's raring to go. He still wants out. I mean, he's a professional. If he stays, he stays. He'll play. He'll do his job. But there's quite a few of them. Paqueta, the only way we keep him, I'm certain of it, is if he gets found guilty, then he'll obviously appeal it. While that is going through the appeal process, he'll be able to play. That's the only way we've got Paqueta next season, mate. This is a serious fucking concern for me. Like it really is.
And I think the heat should be on the owners. We can have our moan about Kudus, but once he's holding up that Tottenham shirt, or if someone else comes in for him, wherever he goes, we move on. We boo him when he plays. We show him how much our frustration about him going and joining a London rival. But it's you're right there, mate. Sullivan and Brady and the rest of them there. The heat's got to be on them because they're the ones causing this. They're allowing our best players to leave and join our London rivals. They're allowing this, and this is why we're starting to get pissed off again. I know you wasn't Moyes' biggest fan, but under Moyes for a couple of seasons, I felt like we had identity back, and I think we had stability at the football club.
Look, there was definitely, when I look back now, from when you look at what we've been looking at for the last year, under both Potter and Lopetegui, the pair of them, they definitely looked like there was more of a togetherness there in that team. Yeah. It looked like I'll tell you what, it looked like the players knew what they was doing, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting that bad, Nick. When I watched the video that they put up yesterday, the players coming back, I was buzzing to see Cornet back.
Mate, I actually was. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So I was actually quite as despondent as I am, and I ain't looking forward to. I really ain't looking forward to the season. And that didn't make me feel any different. But for whatever reason, I don't know why. It sort of sparks a little bit. You can't put the fire out. You can't. I don't know what it is. We'll always get reeled back in. But it's such a fucking shame because the fan base that we've got here, we are fanatical about our club. We are. I know we're harsh. I know we're when we're not being given what we want, we're a difficult fucking crowd. But I don't think also at the same time, is it fair to say I don't think it takes much to please us either. There's just certain things that we like to see.
Fucking right, mate. What we want to see is we want to see a team of players that walk on that pitch And even if we lose, because we're not the best team in the league. We're not gonna beat
No.
every team. But if you go to a game and our team walks off after a loss, but you think, do you know what? Fuck me, they tried there today. It's something to be proud of. That's what we
Yeah.
want. And when you just go back to what you said earlier about Alvarez, Paquetá, Fulkrug, when you look at what they joined, and now they're seeing all these players leaving, and now we're selling our best players. No wonder they want out. Why would you want to be part of it? Players ain't got the heart anymore. I mean, not all of them. I think there are certain players that have got heart, but some of them, as soon as it ain't going right, they just want to leave. They can go and go somewhere else. Us fans are stuck.
Some of them have got the option, and the thing is, with the players now, right? I don't doubt. Look, I don't think Kudus has got a problem with West Ham fans. I don't think that's the problem at all. I don't think Aguirre's got a problem with West Ham fans. Something's happened with Aguirre and West Ham. Something's definitely happened in his time at West Ham where he's gone. He's one of those people. I'm similar. If I'm not happy somewhere, I'll change. I'll go, fuck this. Life's too short. I'm out of here. There's certain people that see something and they go. You have to remember, it is a job for them. Ultimately it is a job. Not everyone's Mark Noble playing for their boyhood club, and it's a short career. They want to do the best that they can do. What was happening last year to Kudus must have been killing him more than anything else. Because look, he's obviously very proud of his ability. He's very ambitious. He wants to do the best. Not just the team struggling, but himself struggling in a team which was very defence heavy, with fucking like 8 defenders on the pitch at times, creating on average, I checked earlier on, 2 chances a game. That's what we was creating on average, 2 chances a game. Now, when you stick him out on the left-hand side, if you're a left winger and you're left-footed, if you're the type of player like Mo is, who loves to dribble, drive into space, exploit everything, he marauds, stick him out on the left, you're isolating him. You're isolating him. All he can do is run down the fucking wing. That's it. He ain't going to chop inside until he's weak foot every 2 minutes. So that's the reason why you invert these players. Or with him, you can play him in the 10 or in the 8. But they didn't do it. I almost feel like, do you know what? If I'm being cynical, it almost feels like they made this decision at the start of last season with Kudus.
Yeah. Because they know he's one of our prize assets, basically. He knows he's one of these players that are going to generate the most money. Obviously, if Paquetá didn't have his court case going on, he would be another player that could bring in a lot of money. But I mean, yes, his release cost was 85 million, and with just
well, if he'd have carried on his form from his first season, mate, 100 would have smashed the 85 million. That'd have been queue around the block for him.
Thing is, mate, we probably still could, because if we'd have held out for as long as possible, I mean, look, if we sell him tomorrow, we get the money and we start bringing in players, it's a good move. It's a good move because we've moved on straight away and we're bringing in new players. But if we'd have dragged it out, left it to the end, sold him with 2 days to go and not been able to bring anyone in, that would have been worse. That would have been even worse for me. So if he doesn't want to be there, which I don't believe he doesn't want to be there, I think he's being forced out. And I think it was a bit like the Jermaine Defoe situation on them years ago.
Yeah.
You know, he was forced to do what he'd done.
Oh, look, I've got no doubt that in the end, in the final few days, he's probably gone, just get me I want to go. Thing is, if you're playing for a club where they don't want you, that uncertainty's there. You've gone to a new club where they're in the Champions League. You ain't even got to move house. They're just across London. The new manager's come in and said, I will build our entire team around you. Where do you want to play? We'll build everything around you. Mate, you're going to go. You're going to be like, just, I want to go. You don't want me. They do. I want to get out of here. This is on the club. It is on the club. The fact it shouldn't have been. It should have been a tougher decision than what it probably was for him. It should have been, but we've made it a no-brainer. Would you not say?
Yeah, 100%, mate. And with the Tottenham fans, they're in the same sort of situation as us. You know, they hate their owner as well. But the one thing they've done, which we ain't, is they've moved and built a proper football stadium, which is, if you've been there, it's a world-class football stadium. The training facilities are the same. You know,
he's full of cunts in there, though, mate.
Oh yeah, of course, I know that. Yeah, but
it is,
when when you think about it, I mean, last season for them, 17th league-wise was a blip. You know, they've always been up and around the top 4, challenging for that top 4. So you can understand why Kudus would want to go there. Look, we know deep down it probably wasn't his first choice. A few games he turned up last season played well was Liverpool because that's probably where he wanted to go. That was his number one destination. Unfortunately, it never happened. Chelsea could have happened, but they're in the Club World Cup. Who knows what? Maybe if they come back, because let's not forget, we might have accepted the bid, but the deal hasn't done yet. So all these Spurs fans that are putting up pictures of Kudus and sending in all these things, it might not get done. Do you remember when? Who was the player that signed for?
Mate, how fucking funny would it be at this stage if Chelsea swoops him, mate? Honestly,
who was the player that Man United? He done a medical at United, and then he signed for Chelsea.
We done it to Flynn Downs. We done this to Flynn Downs away from Flynn Downs was getting his shirt printed at Palace.
Fuck me, please. Someone remember. Please.
Go on, what player is it? I'll go down to the.
It's a Chelsea midfielder.
I'll scroll down to the bottom. I'm missing loads of comments here. Hang on.
Do you know the worst thing is? I can see him.
Yeah. Obi Mikel.
Obi Mikel.
There you go.
Sure, it was Obi Mikel.
Yeah. It's like all saying Obi Mikel. Yeah.
He's literally at his medical at United, was ready to sign, and then Chelsea come in and he signed from without a medical because he's already done his medical at United.
Yeah.
So I would love to see. There's a part of me now that wants to see Kudus using Spurs to get a
how
big
the fuck
move.
has he got in? Take your £2 back. Fuck off. Alan Thomas, £5 super sticker. Thank you, Alan.
Oh, fucking hell.
Cheers, mate. And what we got here, Nick Blackman says a lot of you will disagree, but the sooner we go down, the less money. What's this? Hang on. The sooner we go down, the less money they make, the more chance they will sell up Sully and Brady out. Well, look. I think to real fans, I'd go and get my season ticket back if we got relegated. Now, look, I'm not saying I want us to get relegated, but I don't like what we're becoming. I don't like just existing in the Premier League. I don't like being cannon fodder. There's also another side of it as well, and I understand how people get frustrated with certain players of a high profile that are probably cutting figures like they don't want to be because they probably don't. But that ain't because they're wankers. That's because they're playing for a club that's got no ambition. We've had such a good opportunity, mate. You know, how many times have I put that graphic up when I ran through it last week? That is literally that team will give anyone a game. And we haven't seen it once. That should be there to compete. And if we'd have just had, I'm not even saying that Potter's a shit manager, all right? I'm not even saying Lopetegui's a shit manager. I'm not saying Moyes is a shit manager. But when you look at that team, that's an attacking team that needs a different type of manager. I spoke to my Agent X, on the show that I did, and I put that graphic up, and I said, would Harry Redknapp get a tune out of that team? He knows Redknapp really well, worked with him for years. He said he wouldn't get a tune out of it. He said he'd get a fucking hit album. That's what he said. He'd get a hit album out of it. Yeah.
Thing is, mate, don't it sort of hit home a bit more now when away fans sing "You sold your soul for this shit"?
We have.
It's like 10 years now, and coming up to 10 years since we left the Boleyn, and you know, it's just. You're right, mate. We haven't got an identity no more. We don't know what sort of football. I'm so disconnected with this football club that I grew up loving. I give up my season ticket 2 years ago. Today, if this move, if the Kudus thing, if it had been a player joining Tottenham 2 or 3 years ago, I'd be going fucking ballistic. It hurt more. But I just expect it now. And why are we allowing this? Why are we expecting it? You know, why are we getting the club ringing fans up and emailing, begging, trying to sell season tickets? Because people are walking away. They don't care anymore.
Just before they pull a stunt like this.
And it's not that we don't love the club. Of course we do. We love the football club. We talk about. There's probably not a day that we don't mention West Ham or look up about West Ham, speak to someone else about West Ham. But people are just fed up with it now. They're fed up with going over there and taking shit.
Do you know what I'm living in? I'm living in what I fell in love with West Ham. I always have and I always will, and I'll probably always moan about it until we get some sort of semblance of what it was, even if it's football, even if it's the type of football that we play and the type of players that we've got and stuff like that, then that's different. But the last game that I went to at the London Stadium was the Brentford game at home last year. I took my son. My son had years at Upton Park as well. So we had season tickets for the first 4 years, I think it was, in the London Stadium. We gave them up in COVID. And whenever I go back over there, I find it makes it worse. So because then you realise you're sitting in there and you're thinking, fuck, it don't feel like West Ham anymore. Whereas I've still got it in my head. West Ham is still in my head and it's still in my heart. But when I go over there and I'm surrounded, look, I've got nothing against tourists, but I was with me and Ben in that Brentford game. We was literally sat in amongst about 20 fucking Korean tourists. We was in the middle of them, and there's none of them were West Ham fans. There was no noise in there, no atmosphere. I got up and I got aerated once, and you feel awkward. I turned around and there was someone sitting over there with their kids eating popcorn because I probably said a bad word, and you're like, fucking hell, what's going on? That was part of the thing that you fell in love with when you was a kid when you went to West Ham, wasn't it? When you used to go over there and all these big airy blokes swearing and stuff like that. You're not allowed to do it anymore.
It's how you learn to grow up, mate.
I know.
Fucking. It's sad, mate, and it's not only like us. There's other football clubs that are going through the same. I know a lot of other people who support their clubs and they don't like going to their ground because football's changing. But look, we obviously was lucky enough to grow up in an era, but it's the future generations that I feel sorry for, and we should try to fight for these future generations to make them want to go to football, want to go to West Ham, because a lot of these youngsters now are going to grow up thinking, I don't want to support West Ham, I'm going to go and support Liverpool, Arsenal. We had it when we was younger. Everyone wanted to support Man United because they were the top team. But if you was from the area or you had family that supported West Ham, you was made to support West Ham. You had no fucking choice.
Yeah. No. It was there was no choice in the matter. That was a family affair. That was it was. But the thing is, like I said, to be fair, it was like me dad and my dad, my sister, and my brother used to take me over there when I was younger, really young, and I didn't really cotton on to it very. I didn't. I remember sort of sitting there playing with my cars on the floor. Weren't really interested.
I said cars.
Yeah. but they kept on. They kept on, and all of a sudden you have that moment in the game where your eyes light up and you're like, "Fuck!" And the So it's it has changed, and I don't know how you would get your kids to feel like that now, because it's one thing taking, doing it with your parents. That's fine. You're doing it because it's a family day out, but it isn't just that. There was something, I think, a little bit more about Upton Park. It felt, I know it sounds corny, mate, but it did feel like a community in there, like a family itself. You knew yourself when you was a young kid. You went away. You felt you was all right, wouldn't you?
Mm. Do you know what, mate? Right, my daughter's never really been into football, but when she was younger, obviously I was a single dad, so I had her on weekends, and obviously I was season ticket holder. So I thought, let me try it out. Let me take her to a game, see how she feels. So I took her to her first game. I'd done it kids for £1 because I thought, she don't like it and we leave. I've only lost £1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Her first game was when we played Swansea at home and we won 2-0. And do you remember Andy Carroll scored? Nolan scored 2. Andy Carroll got sent off for elbowing. And she loved it.
I do remember.
Next season, I got her a season ticket. And I remember our first game that season, we played Tottenham at home. We lost 1-0. Eric Dyer scored in the last minute. Mark Noble missed a penalty that game.
Yes, yeah.
But she just loved sitting there. She loved seeing, she knew that I enjoyed it, so she wanted to be part of it.
Yeah.
And then she enjoyed it. And her second season was the last season at the Boleyn. She must have thought we was the absolute bollocks as a football club. Because that season was unreal.
That was the one, wasn't it? And you know that season, that was the last one. I always go back to it, right? And that was one I enjoyed most because I had my 2 boys with me for the whole season, and mate, every single game that year, it just felt like. Do you know, like I haven't felt like that since. Do you know, like, if you go a goal down, it was almost like we're going to come back and win.
Yeah,
it was just how I felt that year. I felt so confident. It was so like I don't know. When you was at home, it felt like you was at home, didn't you? Like you felt like you had that advantage.
I remember being at that game that season, and funny enough, Graham was with me. That game, and we was 2-0 down to Arsenal.
Yeah,
and even then, I still thought we're going to win this game. and we went 3-2 up. And that was, for me, when Andy Carroll scored that third goal, that was one of the loudest cheers I've ever heard over there. That was unreal. And then obviously they finished 3-3. But you're right, mate. We just didn't give up.
No.
But
and you know what? I had this conversation. I think I had this conversation with Agent X as well, because we was talking about this. And I said the last manager that we had that was probably anything like that was Bilic. And all it was, they didn't do anything. Redknapp didn't do anything tactically. He just knew a good player when he saw one. He could motivate him. He'd put him out on the pitch, and it'd set him up. But that's about as far as it went. I don't imagine there was much on the tactics board, and there was many PowerPoint sessions or anything like that with Redknapp. But with Bilic, it was very, very similar. You know, when we had Payet at the right time with the right man because he was allowed to do what the fuck he wanted. And you had all the people fetching and carrying behind him. It just worked. You had a great player. Whereas nowadays, what you see is these great players almost restrained and they're shackled into a fucking system. And it just drives me mad. How you can have as much talent as we've got in this team. Because if the squad that we've got, when you look at it on paper, when you look at the likes of Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, Somerville, all of these players, Alvarez, and you think, how are we playing in such a rigid fucking... When Moyes was here, the low block in such a rigid, stupid fucking system. You know, I appreciate that in the modern game, it's very tactical. If you do go out on the front foot, you can get hurt. But no guts, no fucking glory. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just go out and if you got it, flaunt it. That's what I say. Just fucking go out and have a go.
Sometimes you've got to pick and choose when you play that low block and that. And then there was games where we'd go 1-0 up and we think we can finish teams off here and we'd sit back all game.
Yeah.
And we either see it out 1-0 or we draw 1-0 or something.
Yeah.
It's sad when you see like when that message is put up there. There's a lot of fans that feel that way. They don't care anymore. And you know, West Ham was always that club that, you know, you said it earlier, mate, we was a community, we was a family club, but it's so distant now, so separated. It's not that same feel no more. And things that what have happened today is just, and the thing is, Sullivan's sitting in his mansion in Fade and Boy now, not giving a fuck. Not giving an absolute fuck. He don't care. No. He will sell this club in a couple of years' time, most probably, and he'll fuck off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And we're left with the London Stadium in Stratford.
So, do you think there's any hope of getting it? Well, look, you're never going to get it back. We're never ever going to get it back. You're never going to get back what that was. But do you think that there's potential at the London Stadium to make it something, not just to make it bearable, but to make it great? If you had owners that cared, if you had a manager that you could connect with, because that's important. If you've got a manager that can communicate with the fans as well, that plays the right style of football, and some players on the pitch, do you reckon that then maybe you could start building something if you had consistency and with a style of play as well? Because that's the other thing. We keep on going from style to style. Philosophy is boring. I think identity is very important. You see, West Ham have always had a certain style of play. I know we've had boring managers over the years with Kirbishley and people like that, although he was all right. But on the whole, with good football, attacking football is in our DNA, innit? It is. That's what you come to expect. Maybe for an older generation, obviously, people that have only been going since we've been in that London Stadium are only going to know and appreciate Moyes ball. That's it. But I do think that the core of West Ham fans, what bothers me the most is the way we approach games. It isn't even the fucking results. It's not the results. It's not. I've had games before that have been exciting that we've I don't know, watch along on one. I can't remember which one it was, but we lost it. I think we lost it 3-1. Who was it against? It was a fucking good game. It was a good game. Now you get frustrated, but what you don't do is you don't leave that feeling like you've been mugged off, like your team hasn't given everything, like your team hasn't. You know, you come away, you're disappointed that you lost, but you don't think. See what you can't do when you play that sort of defensive mindset football. When you play that way and then you lose, what have you got? You're like,
football's not a cheap. When you follow your team week in, week out, it's not cheap. So everyone has the right to fucking moan. If you went to a restaurant and the food was bad, you complain. If you went to a theatre and you didn't like the show, you complain.
Of course,
why can't football fans complain? Why do we get told that we can't moan? We're paying a lot of money. All right, I haven't been for the last couple of seasons, but for 30 odd years, I've fucking been going week in, week out, home and away.
Weren't all your fault though, was it?
No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's expensive, and you want to come out of there thinking, yeah, like you said, all right, we've lost, but fucking at least we've had a bit of entertainment. It was a good game. You
We've
can
had a go,
accept
yeah.
losing. But every game last season, I looked at the starting lineup, and you could predict the result. You could see what was coming. You'd have a freak
Every
result
time.
like Arsenal away, but you sort of knew what was coming. And we can't go into there like this.
You could predict the starting lineup to a degree.
Yeah.
You could predict the way we was gonna approach it. Now that confuses the fuck out of me as well, because you've got these managers that are apparently so tactically astute now. How the fuck can we predict how we're gonna play? I mean, the opposition. Do you know what I mean? If I can predict it, then this is what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Not much changes. Like there was 2 games last season. I won't pick them out because it's all a blur to me now. But we played a top team and we played a shit team down the bottom, and we approached both games in exactly the same way with the same starting lineup, same end result. It's just like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
2 different teams.
Yeah, I mean, look, mate. Look, we've still got. There's still a bit of time in this transfer window and before the season starts. So, Kudus is. He's not gone yet, but it looks like he is going to go. We move on. Potter now has got to go out and he's got to get the players he wants in, because we're going to America soon for a pre-season tour. So it gets even more difficult to sign players that Potter wants, because Potter's going to be out there. So then it leaves it down to Sullivan doing the signings. So it's shit news, mate.
One second. I'm just gonna take this call. 1 second.
Go on, mate. Ain't Kudus, is it?
Right. No, nothing important. That's fine. That's all right. Just wanted to make sure.
I thought it was fucking Kudus.
No, it's not Kudus. But no, look. With me, I feel earlier on when I got the news, when I saw the news, I felt quite numb from it all, because, and it isn't just because of Kudus. Do you know something? If it was just going to be Kudus, even to Spurs, and we went out and we spent the money that we get for him and we build on top of what we've got, I'd swallow it. I would, because I think we've still got the foundation of a good team. But I just think that this symbolises what is going to happen next. And I think we're going to see this a domino effect. We're going to see more go. We're going to see Alvarez go. You're going to see potentially Fulkrug. You're going to see some other players go. And for me, that's sad. I'm going to struggle with it, mate. I am. And it's
I mean, that's a positive that you can hold on to. That is, if we don't sell any more players now, any of our top players, maybe a couple of fringe players might leave, but then we add to it. That's a sort of positive you can hold on to. But I'm with you, mate. I can now see this having an effect with. I think Fulkrug's probably on the phone to his agent tonight saying, "Look, I want out. I don't care how you do it. I want out."
Yeah, I know.
So,
well, and do you know what else as well? Because the fact that our club, we all know it's bollocks, but even everything backfires on them. So let's just say, I don't know. Let's ponder on the idea that Kudus did put a transfer request in, and as a result of that, West Ham have gone and taken a very unfavourable deal. What's that telling to the other players that want out?
Yeah,
that's why it's bollocks. It is bollocks anyway. It was rubbish, but everything they do, every approach they take to media, and they do it as a knee jerk. He's been planning this for a while. He's been sowing seeds in the media, trying to turn him into a mercenary, and loads of fans fucking forget it, mate. They forget everything that's been said leading up to this point. They forget we've had 2 months of West Ham saying we're skint, we've got to sell, naming Kudus in articles as well. We've gone Claret & Hugh saying, we've got to sell these players, Alvarez, Aguirre, Kudus. They're the ones that have been up. Come out and said that Potter had said they're the ones that can go. And then all of a sudden, people are irate. Kudus put a transfer request and he wants to go. You're like, mate, seriously. Fucking just... You can be angry. Look, don't give a fuck about Kudus now. If he's gone to Tottenham, I'm not saying... Because I don't now. I must admit, I was... Because I'm a little bit bloody minded. I am. I'll back players to the hill. But if they go Tottenham or they go Arsenal, even if it ain't their fault, they can fuck off at that point. because they, especially Tottenham. So now, I don't blame Kudus. I don't. But fuck him now. If he's going to play for them, fuck him. My son earlier on absolutely loves Kudus. He's got a Kudus shirt. And when he heard the news, he just said, "I can't wait till Wan-Bissaka breaks his legs next year." I thought, I'm so proud of your son because he's going to be on his side, Wan-Bissaka.
That's now giving us whatever team we've got going into that, or whatever squad we've got going into this Premier League season. That game against Tottenham there at London Stadium.
Oh yeah,
it's raised like that now because we know what's going to happen. We know he's going to fucking score. It always happens against us, doesn't it? But someone puts that first tackle in on him. It's going to get the loudest cheer you've heard over at London Stadium for a long, long time.
100%. If he does score and he does the stool, where he sits down on the stool, I'm making a prediction that he'll put the stool in front of Potter and sit in front of him.
Yeah. But then I'd love to see Potter boot him in the head.
Yeah.
But then again, you want to see. This is another thing as well. Is that what's changed with football is that next season when Kudus turns up to the London Stadium, all the players are going to be hugging him, high-fiving him. All the staff are going to be cuddling. They shouldn't have nothing to fucking do with him.
Nah, not now.
No cuddling after the game. No cuddling in the tunnel.
That's a very new. That's a very new thing in football, that isn't it? Do you know? Do you know? Like when you listen to what's his name, Neville and Roy Keane on the overlap. Roy Keane hates it, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he hates it. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, your opponents.
Yeah, I remember when we lost to Tottenham at Wembley, and Declan Rice was to stand there after the game, cuddling and laughing with Harry Kane and Dyer and all that.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on? Like, football it's changed. They're not. There's no heart or passion in it anymore, mate. It's fucking
No.
I try not to swear that much, mate, and it's making me swear now. So
don't worry about that, mate.
Myself up.
Yeah, I know. Well, it does wind you. It does wind you up. But there's so much that's gone wrong with football as well. We were talking about this the other day. Just something simple like VAR. What is football? Football's about goals. What's VAR done? It's taking the fucking celebrations out of it, really. Because half the time, if it's a bit of a not a clear cut goal, the players don't even celebrate. I mean, Antonio stopped doing his celebrations, didn't he? Do you remember? He used to do all them. So it does. It's just stripping the fucking fun out of it. Doing. It's all for TV. But with as far as West Ham, I know there's a lot of clubs because we get them on here, and I'm sure you get them as well on West Ham fan TV, like Aston Villa fans, Wolves fans that will come on and they'll relate to what we're saying, and they'll say, "No, I've fallen out of love with our club as well. It's not the same anymore. Giving up our season ticket." But I think we are like the pin-up club for how much we've changed and how much we've gone backwards. It is so bad over there what they've done, and just even and they've got no appetite to improve it either. When you think back, I suppose. I mean, I must admit, I've never sat over that section of the. Thank you, mate. Thank you very much. I've never sat over that section next to the away fans in the London Stadium, but that was always a bit where you saw there was a bit of banter going on, and they fucking killed that as well. And they've got no intention of bringing that down. That wall.
Put a fucking wall up.
Yeah.
You're right, mate. I know, obviously, in the beginning over there was a lot of stuff being thrown and coins and bottles and all that, but that sort of calmed down, and then it just become pure banter, like pure, just giving it to the away fans, like you do. It's part of football. It's what creates the atmosphere. It's fucking It's
Shane
going
said,
back to what you just Shane quickly, mate. Go on.
No. Shane said earlier on. He said, "I've always loved West Ham." He said, and even back to when we was a selling club. He said that you just sort of accepted it. He said, but it's hitting different under this lot. Yeah. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. Totally agree. We've had some shit throughout the years. In my 41 years supporting West Ham, I've seen some shit.
Yeah,
I've seen some bad times, but never felt like this the way I do. So disconnected from the football club, mate. As I said, I've been there when we've been relegated, and I've still gone back. I've been there. I've gone to away games when we've got absolutely battered. I've sat on the supporters coach as a kid coming back, but I couldn't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
Now, mate, I sit there on a Saturday, even though I don't go anymore. I still watch every game. And then if we lose, I turn the telly off, mate, and that's it. I'm back to my life, not moaning, not even caring about it.
And that's sad, mate, isn't it? What a fucking change. I mean, and you'll never give it up, like you said. I mean, I would never not watch a game. I wouldn't.
No.
But do you know what I have lost as well? Certainly last season I did towards the end, because no matter how negative, because I can be quite negative, right? I don't know whether you know. I can be quite negative, sort of in the build up to a game. But I've always in the morning, I'm like a Jekyll and Hyde. I wake up in the morning of a game and I'm full of, we're going to win. We're going to win.
Yeah.
I start getting all excited in the build up to the game. I've not had any of that for the last year. It's almost like, oh fuck, we're playing at 3:00, and you kind of just you're going through the motions with it.
Even like last year, I went to 3 games last year. Got battered in all of them. That's why I stopped going. So it was Chelsea at home. It was an early kickoff.
Yeah.
London Stadium was completely dead. Dead. We got battered. We lost 3-0. I think it was 3-1. The next game I went, Forest away. The away end was dead. You know, we lost another one. We lost 3-0. And then the other game was Arsenal. Arsenal at home. And I think it finished 5-3, which was probably the most exciting game of football I've seen at West Ham for a long time. But same again, that was a Saturday 5:00 kickoff, I think it was. And it was just no atmosphere. And I'm thinking, these are London derbies. You know? And you can't get up for a London derby anymore. That's when you know things are not right at the football club, because it don't matter. Growing up, London derbies, you look forward to every single one.
All of them.
Every single game.
Yeah, all of them. And the thing is, even if I think in some of those games as well, I mean, look, to be honest, because I think passion comes from it spills on from the terraces. So if it's a heated atmosphere in there, that will inevitably create a bit of a feisty game. It will affect the players because they're feeling that energy, aren't they? But I don't think that you're getting it from the teams, because a lot of the players over there, they're from overseas. They don't have a fucking clue what the rivalries are. But as well as that, you've got, for instance, at West Ham, we've got, like I said, the worst example of it. You've got this diluted fan base. The fan base don't really get it either anymore. Not really. I don't really get the importance of a London derby. It doesn't feel like that anymore. So it's all become a little bit limp. It has. I don't know what to expect next year. I don't know. I'm not fussed with who we sign, and I've always been obsessed with transfer windows. Always, way before doing YouTube or anything else. I've always been obsessed with who we're going to be signing, getting really excited about it. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I've got no doubt that Diouf, the left back that we've been linked with and we've been hanging on to, they've probably been longing it out for this. So that what we'll probably find, I wouldn't even be surprised if tomorrow that's unveiled. We'll release him. It's like to take the sting out of it almost, We'll announce a new player once we've sold Kudus, because there's always a strategy with these fuckers, isn't there? Always.
Yeah. Listen, mate, I'm hoping that they've got something lined up, because, I mean, look, over the next few days, it's going to sort of hurt a bit more if the transfer does go through, because tomorrow you're going to see images of him arriving at the training ground for his medical, and then you'll probably get the announcement the day after or whatever, and it's done. And it's going to sting, it's going to hurt, but if we can maybe get a couple of signings in over the next week, it sort of softens the blow a bit. I mean, look, there's no denying, mate, that we're losing a talented player. I know he wasn't great last season. He's 24. He's coming up to he should be in his prime now. These are his best years from 24 to 28.
He's going to tear it up next year, and it's going to make us even more fucking angry.
Of course he will, because look, Thomas Frank's a good manager. He's an attacking manager, so he's done wonders at Brentford. So I've got no doubt that he's going to do well there next season. It's not the same. He's not going into the same Tottenham, is he, that what we see last season? I know they finished 17th, but they knew they was in the Europa League, so they sort of give up in the league towards the end of the season. They didn't give a fuck. They knew they weren't going down. So next season, it's a fresh start for everyone. Everyone's on the same, playing field. Everyone starts on 0 points. So, as we said at the beginning of the show, and we'll probably say it over the next few weeks, you can understand the reasons why he has gone to Tottenham. He don't care that it's going to hurt us. I mean, if he scores at London Stadium and refuses to celebrate, then you can sort of think, okay, he does care about the fans.
Well, I don't think any of this is an attack on. I think you're naive. I think if you think that the player is doing this because he's got a problem with the fans, this is not. This is a professional reason for himself. He doesn't like I said earlier on. He's ambitious. He doesn't want to be playing in a relegation team. He came from he was in Ajax. He was playing Champions League football. He scored a hat trick in the Champions League just before we signed him. That's where he wants to be playing. It's nothing to do with the fans at all. Nothing to do with it. The only way he'll do that and he'll celebrate and kiss the badge is if he's not done his homework. I think it'd be sloppy, to be honest, because I don't think he will. I don't think he's as much of a. I don't think he's a mercenary at all. I don't. But it don't really matter anyway. He's a spud. He's a spud now. You know, if he does go, unless
Not yet.
someone,
Not yet.
unless someone does swoop in, like mate, that'd be the funniest thing ever. It'd be the funniest thing ever.
If he uses Spurs to attract other clubs, it would be I would fucking get a Kudus on my shirt.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, mate. DJB. Look, I don't overly like Arsenal after what happened with Rice. Nothing compared to Tottenham. But you know what? You don't want Madueke. I'd even take you taking him now. You know, if fucking anyone, just for there to be a twist in this last minute, because mate, the amount of shit I've been getting straight. I mean, especially you can imagine with me after people I know. That's probably why it's affected me more than more than some. Because a lot of people keep saying, "What are you talking about?" You know, with Tottenham, why are you so sensitive about it? Their fucking stadium's just there. I'm surrounded by them. That's why I'm surrounded by them. But their fans are a bit different, though, mate, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, fucking hell. They're hated for a reason, mate.
Yeah,
they're hated for a reason. They just don't see out of the Tottenham world. They don't see out of world Tottenham. Everything is
Well, they're entitled as well, mate. This is something that West Ham fans are not. We're not. Well, fair enough. We feel entitled to want our team to play a certain way, or have 11 men that go out on a pitch that want to wear the badge. We're entitled to that, but I feel like with Tottenham fans, they feel like they should be winning the league. That's why they keep churning through managers. They want good football, and they don't want managers like Conte and Mourinho, because the football's bad, even though the results are all right and they're there. But then they go to Ange Postecoglou. Oh no, we're bored of that now. They want it all. They want everything. They want to be Man City. That's what they think they should be. Fucking idiots.
Yeah. No, I agree, mate. I agree.
Ryan from Fortune's Hiding Down Under TV says, "Can you do these shows for Australian night time?" No, mate, I can't. I can't. Oh, poor bastard. He's just woke up and read the Kudus news.
Go back to bed.
Oh,
go back to bed. It might just be a bad nightmare.
Cheers, Alec. Very kind of you. And we've got Tony. Sign a petition unless you love Spurs. Indeed, Tony. Indeed. Right, Ryan. What we'll do? We'll start to wind it down now, mate. We're approaching an hour. So, what's your? I'll tell you what. Let's not be positive. Let's talk about what we think is actually going to happen now. Next. So, if it's positive, it's positive. You go first. What do you think is going to happen between now and the first game of the season, in terms of players that you think will go out? And obviously, we can't really talk about players that are coming in because we don't know any of them. But
yeah,
and
I mean, what I'd like to happen and what will happen are probably two different things. I just hope that after we sell Kudus, I just hope that we act fast and start bringing in players. And I hope that we're working on keeping some of our top players. Obviously, we don't know what's happening with Paquetá yet. Like you said, if he gets found guilty, he will appeal it. So he probably will be here for hopefully next season or as long. I see your video on Alvarez the other day. I agree. I always got... fuck it. Do you know what? I should have worn my Alvarez shirt tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, a shirt in Mexico. Alvarez one. Love it. I hope that we can keep players like Alvarez, because I think there is a good player in Alvarez. If he's played, I think
he's brilliant. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think if you've got Alvarez in there with legs and he ain't exploited, so if you've got like a proper box to box and you got a number 10 and you just got Alvarez sitting, Alvarez is a quality player, mate.
Yeah. I'd like to see us obviously have a decent pre-season. I'd like to see some of our youngsters shine in pre-season and be
Yeah,
pushing to be in that first team squad, even the starting 11 next season. And yeah, that's my hopes, mate. That we start bringing in players and we don't just sell any of our top players. I can understand fringe players going, maybe leaving
yeah.
on loan, but with what we've lost in the summer with players that are out of contract, we've got a big rebuild. And it's starting it with selling one of your best players ain't a great start.
No, no, it's not at all. And the other thing that's a bit of a worry as well, if they don't start bringing players in now, while we've still got some of these of our established kind of star players, because they're an attraction to new signings. I think
Of course.
if you fucking gut the team now, Paqueta, Alvarez, Kudus, Fulkrug, and then go out and start trying to attract players, you're gonna people are gonna be looking at West Ham going, well, where are you going? What are you doing?
Mm.
Who am I going to be playing with? So it's
Yeah.
been it's a very weird strategy. Look, there's always a chance that there is actually a plan in all this. There is. There's a chance that this has all been mapped out. It's all been planned out, and as messy it is, these players have just got to go. They've got to get the money in, and Macaulay and Potter have got all of these amazing players lined up, and they've got this brilliant plan for next season, and it could kick on. There is obviously a chance there. He must be confident of that being the case, but
Mm.
I don't know. I just think the Premier League's a little bit different, mate. I think we saw the likes of Ipswich last year, who obviously did very, very well, getting promoted from League One, then getting promoted from the Championship in successive years. Very good manager in McKenna. They went out and they spent a lot of money when they came in, targeting and recruiting similar level players to what we're currently linked with. Because all the players that we're linked with currently, Sunderland and Leeds are after. So
Yeah. And
we're competing with
yeah.
them.
And they're getting some of their signings in.
Yeah, I know.
No disrespect to Sunderland and Leeds, but if we're in for any of their players that they're linked with, we should be getting them. They
All
should be
day long.
choosing us, but it's not happening. But yeah, it's be interesting to see what happens over the next week or two. The next few
Yeah.
days are going to be interesting. I'm hoping, like you said, mate. I hope there is a backup plan. I mean, Sullivan's plan, same as every season, 17th,
Survive.
and anything above
Survive.
is a bonus.
Yeah. Survive. Yeah, it's going to be
And
interesting.
whether sorry, mate, just quickly,
Go on.
whether you like Potter or not, you got to feel for him a bit in this situation, in you.
I feel like he's involved in it, mate. If you want me to be perfectly honest, I'll go back to that Agent X. What he said. He said when Potter came in and he took the job, he said he would have interviewed for the job, and he said the only way he would have been given that role is if he looked at that team and he convinced the board that he could do better with this group of players and do well than Lopetegui has done. That's the only way he would have been given the job. If he'd have come in and gone, I can't work with any of these, you've got to sell them all, he wouldn't have got the job. They're going, well, we might as well stick with fucking Lopetegui till the end of the season. But he's obviously convinced them that he can do it. He's come in and that has not been the case. And now we're in a situation where he must be signing off on players that are going to be leaving, mate. It must be the case that, sell all these players, get rid of them, and we'll bring our own players in. So I do think that there is. I don't think he's innocent in all of this personally. If
No,
he's got nothing to do with it, and they're just selling all of these players out from underneath him, then what's he still doing here? Most players worth their salt would walk. If Kudus was important to your plans, Paqueta, Alvarez, and all these players were important to your plans, and they're just selling them, you wouldn't stick around. You go, well, what are you doing?
I think the way I know Sullivan runs a football club, I feel that even if Potter wanted to keep Kudus, he'd have sold him anyway.
Oh yeah, no doubt,
That's
no
how I
doubt.
feel, and I feel that if Potter does, if Potter's obviously Potter's the manager, if he doesn't fancy Kudus and he thinks he can go out there and sign someone that can do better, then fair play to him. If it works out, then fair play. If that is the situation, but I just think anytime someone waves a little pound note under Sullivan's nose, he's going to take it. He don't
You can't
care.
resist it.
If he's meant to be a West Ham fan and he loves this football club and he knows the rivalry, he's done it to us before. He sold Scott Parker to Tottenham.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he would have been sitting there knowing that this was going to fucking wind up the fan base. This was going to get so much hate. Yes, they've tried to chuck Kudus under the bus, but players are allowed to speak now. you will find out that Kudus probably hasn't handed in a transfer request. I don't believe he
No.
has,
No.
and he's got. It's not his first choice. It's his only choice. And if he's being forced out, like we said earlier, mate, who can blame him? Who can blame
No.
him for whether he goes Spurs, fucking
I,
Liverpool, Man City? Who can blame him for leaving the football club?
I don't blame him. I mean, if it was me, like I said to you, I'm quite bloody minded as a person. So not as a West Ham fan, but if I was, I don't know, if I was playing for Tottenham and I'd been there for 3 years, 4 years, and the club were treating me like shit and treated me like that, I'd probably want to be a little bit vindictive and all. To be honest, I wouldn't give a shit about them. To be honest, if they were treating me like that, I wouldn't be doing. I wouldn't be doing anything that would make their life easier. It would all be for me. Do you know what I mean? Um, and I think they're just they made his mind up. They made his decision very, very easy as far as I'm concerned. And that is where
Mm,
I've got a fucking problem. They forced him out.
yeah,
You know, they can't say otherwise. They can't talk about transfer requests as the reason they sold him. They've been putting fucking articles out for months about how we need to sell Kudus. It's all
mm,
bullshit. So you can believe it if you want. And like I said to you, now he's a Tottenham player. Fine. You can dislike him like you dislike all the other Tottenham players. But the reason that he left, it isn't because he's a mercenary. The reason that he left is because we needed money and we've forced him out. So please, for God's sake, I'm not asking you to blow smoke up Kudus's arse. He's gone now. To a degree, fuck him. That's how I feel. But don't get it muddied up. This is down to the club. The reason that we've just been embarrassed, the reason that the likes of Ryan and myself have got to come on these fucking live streams and avoid Spurs fans for the next 6 months that are going to be abusing us, and all of our Tottenham mates and stuff like that, you know, all you lot in the chat, you're going to be getting grief from them, is because of what Sullivan's done. We haven't dealt with Tottenham for 14 years. You know, we've been at this stadium now for 9 years. We did sell our fucking spiritual home. That was our church, quite clearly, when you compare the two. So it is really important. We've had 3 years in Europe. So when you look at the finances that came off the back of that, then we sold Declan Rice. We got 100 million for a homegrown player. And less than 2 years later, we're fucked financially. That for me, like I said on the video earlier on, you got Karen Brady coming out crowing about, oh, this is the second longest time that West Ham have been in the top flight in their history. But I was literally sitting there thinking, but you're skint. How the
yeah.
fuck can you be? Where's the money going then? Imagine if we'd have got relegated. How would they cope with that? So it's all shit, mate. It is shit. But it's amazing what a couple of signings can do. Could even flip me and change my, you know, if it's the right type of player, you know, I don't know. Let's dream. Go wake up tomorrow. We'll sign Harvey Elliott. You know, we'll sign someone like that. Someone a little bit exciting, a little bit of flair. I don't think we're going to get that. I think we've got too many attacking players as it is, and I think we're going to be seeing more defensive players, right back, left back, another centre back, and maybe a couple of defensive-minded central midfielders. That is typically the way that Potter plays. I don't think Kudus. I don't think Kudus will be replaced, mate, because Potter's favoured system is a wing-back system. These inverted forwards, they don't play a part in his team. Bowen's a problem for him. That's why he kept on playing him up front.
Yeah, no, you're spot on with what you're saying, mate. But imagine the change in people's attitude if we did go and sign Harvey Elliott. You
Yeah.
know, because he's an
Oh,
exciting, young, talented player. And we've seen what he's done in the
straight away.
Euros for England.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it would be a signing. You think to yourself, yeah, do you know what? You can take that. You can take Kudus going now because I listen. I think Harvey Elliott would be a great signing, and I think it's someone that maybe we could attract. But I think he's going to have so many teams after him that it's going to be
Yeah.
hard. So it's about how we sell the football club to any target. How do we sell the club to them?
And that's the worry for me, and that's what we've all been saying since we obviously got rid of Tim. You can say what you want about the players that Tim actually brought in, but one thing that he could do was get a deal done. He obviously was
Mm.
very good at going out, meeting a player, meeting the representatives, and selling a dream, selling a package, selling a project, and they believed in it. You know, we got Alvarez, even you know, right at the end of last season with Tadibo, we beat Juventus to Tadibo. You know, they desperately wanted him, so he got
Yeah,
he got the. Oh, hang on, what is that happening? Why is it? Why is that ringing? Hang on. Hang on. Yeah, he got the deal done, and I just don't feel like now we've got anyone that can do that. Well, I know we haven't. We haven't got anyone that can do that now. We've, you know, Sullivan ain't going to sell. Mind you, having said that, don't get it twisted. I think Sullivan's the man that will phone up a club, you know, Aston Villa, and go, "How much do you want for your player? 60 million? I'll give you 50." If Aston Villa accept it, he'll deploy, you know, fucking Tom Jones, Barry Silkman, to go and do some negotiating. So he's got intermediaries that he puts in the middle, even though we've been told that apparently McCauley and Potter are trying to do it without these intermediaries. We was told that before the window opened. It don't seem to be working very well at the moment.
Do you know what worries me as well, mate, is that Jordan Henderson's been released from.
I saw that earlier on. I ignored it. I thought I was being wound up.
I'm thinking to myself, this has got Sullivan written all fucking over it. Callum Wilson's another one. Calvert-Lewin's another one. I mean, look, Calvert-Lewin, he's 28. If he didn't have a bad injury record, you'd snap him up. But if he didn't have a bad injury record, he'd be terrible. Fucking.
His injury record's terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so bad.
Even I'm getting a little bit jealous. Fucking Andy Carroll's gone to Chelmsford, or meant to be signing for Chelmsford, or Leighton Orient. I heard someone say earlier. Fucking, that's when you know you're struggling, mate. But
I know.
Now look, let's just hope, mate, that over the next few days, it's going to be tough for us as fans to see Kudus holding up that Spurs shirt if it happens. But as you said, mate, fuck him. Fuck Spurs.
They're not good for the mental health, though, Ryan. They're not. And look, you know, they're not. They're kind of. I was in a really good sort of chipper. I was in a good place yesterday. You know, you come through everything. I was in a good mood. Spoke to you earlier on. Said we're gonna have a bit more of an uplifting. Have a laugh tonight. And then they do that, and they just bring you down. I think Gio did a show on Hammers Chat earlier on, and they did a positive show, an intentionally positive show. I think it was titled Positive. And literally an hour later, this Kudus news breaks, and you're like, "Fuck, you know what are they trying to do to us? Just give us something." I think every fan, not fan channel, every fan does want something to be positive about. We don't just want to fucking moan. We want something to be positive about. But they're just not. They're not giving it to us. It does make you think now that he's kind of. You'd like to think that his hand's been forced a little bit now. They've got to do something. Now they are this weekend. They need to do something.
Yeah.
I
agree. Mate. Totally agree. But look, mate, don't be down. There's more to life than West Ham.
There is. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah. We move on, and yeah, I'm sure that hopefully, fingers crossed, mate, we'll have some sort of good news coming out in the next few days with at least one or maybe two signings coming through the door.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so, mate. I hope so. Right. Everyone in the chat, thank you very much for sticking with us tonight. I know it's probably a tough watch. We're all going through the same thing together, though. But thanks very much for sticking with us. Thanks everyone for all the super chats. I'll just quickly whiz them up again. So we had O'Hara giving me £2 to take the piss out of me. Alan Thomas, thank you very much, mate. Patrick Walcock, Nick Blackman, Steve Bell, Nick Blackman again, Ozzy Ryan, Alec Bassendale gifted a membership, and Tony Sahota. Thank you very much, everyone.
Mate, don't let Sullivan see all that. He'll be asking for a loan off you.
I know. And I charge him fucking lot of interest. I will. But yeah, Ryan, thanks very much for joining me again, mate. And hopefully, when we chat, hopefully next week we'll have some good news.
Oh yeah, we'll have
I reckon we will. I reckon we will. I reckon in the next 7 days between now and then, we're gonna have big smiles on our faces when we come on.
Yeah.
We are.
Do you know what? This time next week we'll be fucking sitting again. Fucking full grub's fucking gone. Paquetá's been banged up.
He's in Pentonville. Paquetá's in Pentonville.
Antonio's got a new 5-year deal.
Yeah, Callum Wilson's been brought in. They built a podcast studio for the pair of them.
Jordan Henderson as our captain.
Mate, that's got to be bullshit with Jordan Henderson. They can't be doing that. Please, God, no. That's a piss take. Right, anyway, we're going to go. Speak to you later. Don't forget, everyone, drop a like on the video, please, before you go. It does help the algorithm. Going to let you go. That is that.